Hello there. It's early February. It's cold outside, about 15 degrees. I've been bouncing back and forth between the fire and the studio there. I just love these winter nights when it's nice and brisk and cold. I love to stand around the fire. I love the smell of the wood. It's just wonderful. But I wanted to tell you about my upcoming adventure. So let's go inside here where it's a little bit warmer and I'll tell you all about it. Ah, much better. I felt like Mr. Rogers there. Well, welcome to the studio, or as I call it, the CP, and my friends know it as the CP, and I call it the CP because my grandfather was a paratrooper in World War II and he jumped on Crigador. So I have a lot of pictures of him here in the CP. He was in the airborne, so I kind of give homage to him and the guys in his unit. So, anyways, like I was saying, I'm planning a little trip, and I'm going to go to the city of Marietta, Ohio, here in a couple weeks, and I'm going there to stay at a haunted hotel, which is along the Ohio River in southeastern Ohio, kind of on the tip of the Appalachia. It's a small town, I believe it's about 13,000 people. And what it's known for is that it was one of the first settlements that was sanctioned by the United States of America after the Revolutionary War in the old Northwest Territory. So it has a lot of history, and I think it'll be a neat place. I've never been there before, but it should be kind of fun. And like I said, I'm going there to do a little paranormal investigation at a hotel called the Lafayette Hotel, which was built, I believe, in 1918. So it's over 100 years old. And this particular hotel is not the first hotel in this location. There have been previous hotels there that have burnt down. So there's a lot of history in the area. And supposedly, the guests there, employees, have heard footsteps, have seen things. A lot of mysterious things happen in the hotel. So it's kind of known to be haunted. And there's a lot of people that go there and do investigations and so forth. So I'm kind of looking forward to it. I think it'll be kind of fun. Going there with my daughter. And we're going to see what we can find out, you know. Just go there and use my senses. Not taking a bunch of mechanical stuff, because I don't have a lot of stuff. What I am taking with me is this right here, which is a digital voice recorder. That's going to be my main tool. I have a flashlight, have my camera, and a few other things, but I think this will be my main tool, the digital voice recorder. So I picked this up the other day at Amazon, and I've never used it, so I'm going to have to practice with it, but I was surprised how small it was. So I'm not doing a lot of fancy stuff. I'm just going to go there and just kind of take it all in, and probably go there and explore the city, kind of walk downtown, look around, get a feel for the area, and then later on that night, get back to the hotel and just kind of feel it. See if I feel anything. Kind of do a little exploring, do a little EVP, see if I catch anything. So I'm hoping that this will be maybe like a 3-part video where I do the video tonight telling you what I'm going to do, and then I'll video what I'm doing at the hotel during the investigation and having fun there at the hotel, and then maybe a follow-up if I find anything where I can kind of review the evidence. So that's the plan. So, but going back to the paranormal, you know, a lot of people either believe in it or they don't. So you have the people that believe in it, you have the people that might believe in it, but they just don't know, and then you have the people that don't believe in it. I'm in the category of I believe in it, and I say that because I've had experiences, and I'll share those with you. Actually, I've had 2 experiences that made me a believer. But going back to that, a lot of people, they'll say, well, if ghosts and spirits are real, then why don't I see them? Well, that's a good question. And I had someone explain it to me that made sense to me. And a couple years ago, well, actually, it's been more than a couple years. It's been about 8, 9 years ago. My grandmother died, and they had a minister that come to the house that was from hospice, and he'd come to the house and talk to the family and spend a couple days with the family. And he was talking about the afterlife and spirits, and I don't necessarily know how we got into the conversation of ghost or things like that, which I don't really know if that was the conversation, but anyways, he explained it in a way that made sense to me. And how he said it was that there's lots of stuff just like floating around out there. And you got to think of it like radio waves. You know how you have your AM and FM radio waves that are just out there moving around, and you have your radio and you can tune into it, and you got to tune into that right station. And once you tune into it, you hear beautiful music. You hear stuff. Unless you tune into it just right, you never hear anything, but yet this stuff is out there. So I think the paranormal, ghosts, spirits are the same way. They're out there, but unless you can tune right into it, you're never going to hear it, you're never going to see anything, you're never going to experience it. So I believe that you have people like mediums or people that can communicate with spirits. They have the ability to tune in. They know how to do it, and they can just tune right in and they can pick this stuff up. And then you have other people that might have the ability to do it, but they don't realize it, and they can tune in too, and sometimes they pick it up. And then you have other people that get lucky. For some reason, they just tune in for that particular moment, and they can pick things up. And then you have other people who never experience anything, just never get to that point where they can just like drown everything else out and pick that up and tune in. So I think it's kind of a hit and miss. I think it comes down to you yourself. I think everybody has the ability to probably tune in and pick up things. It's just whether you allow yourself to do that, or whether you can put yourself in that right frame mind to kind of drown everything else out and pick up those singles. So, going back to my experiences, over the years I've had lots of different little things where it kind of makes you wonder, was that paranormal or not? But I never had any real concrete examples. But I did have one about 8 years ago when I was at Gettysburg. And I had been to Gettysburg probably about 2 or 3 times within like 2 years. And I was really getting into it. And I made maps and I had things planned out, what I wanted to do. And I wanted to go to various different areas of the battlefield and kind of walk the grounds and go places where other people, hadn't been, kind of off the beaten path. So I was there one morning, and I got up early, and it was in March, and I was walking over to Culp's Hill. And it was probably around 6:30 when I left the hotel, which is right there by the National Cemetery. And it was in March, like I said. So I was walking down to Culp's Hill, and there wasn't anybody really out. I saw 2 people. They were jogging, a couple females. And that was it. No cars, no nothing. It was quiet. It was that time of the year when there wasn't a lot of people around. And so I walked over to Culp's Hill, and Culp's Hill, they have this fire tower, observation tower, and it's probably about 85 feet tall. And so nobody else around. It's like, and when I got there, and so I walked up there, and of course I was I was not in shape. So the way the fire tower, the observation tower works is you kind of walk up 10 feet, hit a platform, walk up another 10 feet, hit a platform, walk up another 10 feet, hit a platform, walk up another 10 feet, hit a platform. And you just keep doing this until you get to the top. And so when I was walking up it, I would walk up 10 feet, take a break, because I was out of breath, wasn't in shape. I'd wait for a few seconds, and then I'd walk up again to the next platform, take a break, wait for a few seconds, catch my breath, and walk up again, until I got to the top. So I got all the way up to the top, went out there, looked around, and like I said, it's about 7 o'clock in the morning, and it was just a beautiful view. I was up there, looking around, and then I decided to sit. They had little benches up there. Decided to sit down on the bench there. And I was sitting down there, looking at my notes, my field notes that I had, and I heard this, like somebody walking up the steps. But I heard it, and it was like, and it stopped. Then I'd hear it again. Just like me, how I would walk up there, take a break, and then walk up again. I go, what the heck? There's nobody down there. So I decided to walk up to the edge. I looked around. Nobody there. There was no cars, no nothing. I go, what the heck? Must be maybe someone that was walking up to the place. So I sat back down. Excuse me there. I had to take a break. I'm not used to talking that much. I had to get a drink of water. But anyways, I had sat back down, and I heard this noise coming up the stairs. So I looked over the edge, and I go, there's nobody around there. What the heck? So I sat back down, and as soon as I sat back down, I heard this walking up these metal steps. And they make a distinctive noise, which you know when you hear somebody walking up metal stairs, you hear the footsteps going up. And it did the same pattern. I go, what the heck? And so I got back up, and instead of looking over the edge, I kind of ducked my head down to where the steps come up just to see if anyone was down there. And I didn't see anybody. And I sat back down, and I go, I got a smile on my face. I go, that was paranormal. It had to have been, because there was nobody else around. It was just a weird feel. I wasn't scared or anything. It was just kind of like, wow, did that just happen? So that was my first paranormal experience, and it was just amazing, to be honest with you, really amazing. Now, my second one, which is a little closer to home here, was at my house. Now, I live in an older house. It was built in 1890. And I've lived here probably for at least 21 years. And my kids, over the years, they're older now, they have experienced things over the years, have said they have seen things and heard things. And I've kind of heard things, but I never seen anything. But I could never say, yeah, for sure that was something paranormal. Now, my wife, she has seen things in the house, which made her a believer. But myself personally, I had never seen anything in the house. But that all changed a couple years ago. When, and what's funny is this wasn't at night. You know, this was in like the evening. It was like at 6 o'clock in the evening. But what had happened was I was getting ready to go someplace, and in my kitchen I have a big window that faces the west, so the sun kind of flows in there, and it's really bright in the afternoons, in the evenings during the summertime. And this was in June. And I have this door that's in the kitchen that leads out to the side door. So you walk out the kitchen, this door, open it up, and then there's a little landing, and then it goes out to the side door outside. So I was getting ready to go someplace, and I had this door that separates like the landing to the basement area shut. Just cracked open a little bit. And I didn't have the light on in the basement because there were still, I have some windows in the basement, so there's still some light in there so I could see. So it's still kind of bright down there. And I was down there getting something. But we have some shelves down there with like a food pantry. And all of a sudden it got dark. And it was like, I was like, what? What happened? And it was like somebody stepped in front of that window that's in the kitchen and just kind of made it dark down there. And I thought to myself, oh, somebody must be getting ready to come outside, open the door and go outside. So I kind of stepped back a little bit. But nobody came out. So I went ahead and opened the door and back up to the kitchen there, and boom, I had a big surprise. I saw a little girl there. I kid you not. So I was on this landing, and the landing, so you have the kitchen that comes in, and there's a couple steps that go down to the landing. So I was like on the landing, standing here, and the steps were a little bit higher. So when I opened that door, I saw this little girl, and since the kitchen's a little higher and I was standing kind of below on the landing, I was at eye level with her. And she was only there for like a second, and it was gone. Enough to make you think, what did I just see? And the funny thing about it is, I don't know if it's funny or not, but she had on this dress. It looked like a nightgown. It had like little ribbons around the arms here, and the dress was like white, but it had like little flowers on it, like a little flower patterns, and she had like hair that was down to her shoulders. Her face, you could see her face was round, but the eyes were hollow. You couldn't see the eyes. It was just like black, like hollow. Like it's just like, it was weird. And it was gone, just like that. And so that made me a believer. And I can't explain it. I mean, it happened. And it just did. And I talked to my wife about it, and the girls, and my wife had actually seen a little girl a couple years ago on Christmas Eve too. So apparently there's something around the house there. So those are my two experiences that made me a believer. So I don't know if I'm going to find something there when I go to the Lafayette Hotel here in a couple weeks, but I'm definitely open to anything that might happen. So I'm kind of excited about doing it and going there and experiencing everything. So we'll see what happens. So stick around, and I'll be doing a video there at the hotel. Talk to you later.